Charlie, what's up?
Another day, another day, another day. It's always a good day when you see daylight.
Do you think that one day you'll wake up and not be here?
No, I know for sure if I don't wake up, I won't be here.
We'll be somewhere else, right?
Somewhere.
That's a mystery, isn't it?
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
I noticed you. I saw you here a while back on the Y, where you'd run. Did 90 laps for your 90th birthday? Is that right?
I did. I had my families there. My sons were there, and my wife, and had a pretty good crowd.
Is it 90 one way, or is it 45 one way, 45 the other?
A lap is there and back, 150 yards. It's
So a lap is there and back.
there and back. That's a lap.
So that's like 180
That's not a length,
times.
it's a lap.
That'd be 180
80
lengths.
lengths. That's what it amounts to, yeah.
You know, I couldn't do one.
Oh, well, you have to build up to it. You don't just jump in the pool and do it. And I've been doing it since 1983.
At the Y?
Yeah, actually, at one section, East Ridge Hospital, they put in a health center and they put in a nice Y, and I went there for about 3 years. But most of the rest of the time was at the Y.
Did you touch bottom when you do that, or
No.
So you're not touching bottom at all.
No. I'm not fast. I do 3 laps in about 5 minutes. It took me 3 hours to do 90 laps, but I did 80 on my 80th birthday. I did 88 on my 88th birthday. I did 90 on my 90th birthday.
When is your birthday?
October the 19th.
And you'll be how old?
This year I'll be 92.
Will you do 92
I'll
laps?
be in October the 19th.
Will you do 92 laps?
I probably could. I can't say right now.
Are you working on it? Are you training?
No, I'm not working on it. I swim. Well, I had a little bit of an issue back the first of the year. I had a little prostate issue that I had an operation on, and then before I got over that, I had a perforated ulcer they had to fix, and it sure eliminated a lot of things. I was having problems I didn't know I had, but since then, I'm probably doing about 3 days a week.
Swimming 3 days a week?
Yeah.
What time do you get there?
Anywhere from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. I'm scored. They have classes, and I have to figure it out when I get a...
Were they shut down during COVID?
No, well, for a short time, but they've been back quite a while. But the pool is the safest place to be with that chlorine water.
I bet, yeah, because it kill it.
So they wouldn't actually, for a couple of months, they would only let one in a lane where we used to share a lane. And they didn't share. They're just now getting back to where they're sharing a lane.
I can't imagine swimming. Were you a swimmer before?
Well, I swam back when I was real young in Chickamauga Creek down there, but I actually...
But not official?
No, we just get in and play and swing on a rope and dive and swim. 1983, I had an automobile accident, and they had to go through the front to the back. I had destroyed 2 vertebrae. They built me 2 vertebrae, 10 and 11, out of my short rib, and a piece off of my hip. And old Doc Brown told me, if you will get into an exercise program that will keep the muscles in your back strong, you will never have any problems. But if you don't, you will always have problems. So I took him at his word and actually started swimming before I got my plastic cast off.
Why swimming versus something else?
It's the movements that you use a lot of your muscles, because you're kicking your legs and you're moving your arms and you're turning side by side, and this builds up the main muscles in your back that keeps all of your vertebrae and that stuff in place. And knock on wood, I haven't had a twinge in my back since 1983.
What was the automotive accident?
Well, I was on the road at that time, calling on builders that use roof and floor trusses. And Huntsville was my territory, and I was in Huntsville. I was coming out of Huntsville, and there was a truck with a homemade bed on the back that was loaded with a bunch of stuff strapped down. But a piece of it came off, and I didn't know what it was. So I was driving a brand new T-Bird, and I swerved to the right, which they had been working on the shoulder of the road, and it had dropped down several inches, and whipped it back up on the road, shot across. It was a 4-lane highway with a median strip in the center. And when I got to the other side in the median strip, I said, boy, I'm glad I didn't hit anybody. Well, about that time, I hit a culvert at the bottom of it came off into a V, and I hit a little culvert, and with my driver's side front wheel, and the T-Bird stood up on its nose this way and stood up and quivered a little bit and sat back down. And during the process, that's when it crushed my vertebrae.
Like a cartoon movie.
Yeah, it just stood up there. Anyway, had a brand new.
Did that scare you to death?
Well, I didn't have time to get scared. I had a brand new box of calling cards. I had my seat next to me. They were scattered all over the car. It looked like it snowed. So a guy stopped from the oncoming traffic and ran over there and says, "Can I help you?" And I remember just reaching over and picking up one of those cards and handing him. I says, "Call the ambulance and my wife." So anyway, they took me to.
Now, they didn't have cell phones then, did they? 83.
Oh, no. I had a pocket full of quarters and hoped I could find a phone booth that would work. But anyway, he took care of all of that, and they took me to Huntsville Hospital and got me comfortable. And I was thinking, I can't really remember if I stayed overnight or late that afternoon. Anyway, my wife had gotten there. And they strapped me to a gurney and put me in another ambulance and took me to the hospital. That's where they did the operation.
All in a matter of just a few days. In other words, you were just driving home, and all of this happened.
It's the end of the day, and I had started home, yeah.
So you were living in Chattanooga, but selling trust salesman.
You're right. Yeah, I had always been connected with the trust business, and Before then, before the gas crunch, if you remember 1972,
72, yeah.
the gas crunch hit, and I was pumping 160,000 gallons a month, and I had gotten a letter in the mail from Exxon that they were cutting my allocation to 130,000 gallons a month. I had 2 stations.
Do you own and operate them?
Yes. And I did not own the building of the property, but I owned the business. And I had just stocked the second one over on the crossroads at Ooltewah Ringo Road and Appleton Pike. And that was a very new station, but I had just put in all new equipment, front end alignment machine, which I didn't have on the freeway. And I had just put all that stuff in. And you know what that happened, Kevin, to my cash flow when,
Yeah.
well, anyway. So I took care of all of Tennessee Trust's equipment, their personal equipment, not the large trucks because they had a mechanic shop back there, but all the small vehicles I took care of them, and all of the families involved, which there were 3 owners in Tennessee Trust, their families, their cars. I took care of them. And when the gas crunch hit, and I got into argument with Exxon, and they said, you signed a contract to stay open 24 hours a day on the freeway. And I said, you also signed that same contract, said you'd furnish me gasoline. And if you don't furnish me gasoline, I'm not keeping it open at night. We fought back and forth about 6 months. And I got tired messing with it, so I just sold out. So one of the main shareholders of Tennessee Trust came to me and says, hey, you know a lot about building business and you've built quite a bit. How about, they had just opened up and was very new, and the carpenters back then, you asked them if they want to buy a truss, they thought it was something to wear to help the support.
Yeah, they didn't know then.
So I had to convince them this was a good way to go. It would save them money, save them time, whatever. So he told me what he would pay me and all that stuff. And I told him the only way that I go to work for him, that if I kept my job up, if I needed to build a little house or something, and I was doing my job, that I didn't have any repercussions. He said, no problem, no problem. So anyway, I had, the building I had done before, I knew a lot of subs. Back then, it's a little bit different than it is now. I mean, a sub was just happy to help you. I mean, they look forward to helping you. And I didn't have any problems. I didn't have to be there every minute of the day.
This was in the mid-'70s.
Now this,
Early 70s?
This was before 70, before I opened the station. The only reason I opened the station, that back then, building was feast and famine. It'd go 2 or 3 years just wide open, and then it closed down for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So rather than sitting down and not doing anything, I'd get into something else.
Were you in the building? Were you in the building business prior to that? I mean, that.
I worked with my grandfather and my uncle. My uncle was a carpenter, so to speak. He was a contractor, or one of my uncles, one of them was. But one of them, and when he get a job, I would help him. But I was a pretty young man then, you know. I was back in my teens, but I grew up basically around the building business.
Almost everybody did back then, didn't they?
Oh,
to
yeah,
some
oh, yeah.
extent,
There-
everybody was familiar with it.
There was no permits, there was no anything. You want to do something, you did it. And we didn't have any sub-men like electricians, plumbers, whatever.
A carpenter did
We
the
did
roofing.
it all.
A carpenter did, yeah, the whole thing.
We did the whole thing. We dug the footing. We laid the block. We put down the subfloor.
What would you sub out? What would you sub out during that era? The excavation?
Sometimes, if we had a lot to do, you know, carpenters kind of worked together then. Their subman would help you, and your subman would help them. I mean, it was any problem. Or you may do a little bit of it, and they come in and do a little, you know, it's just
Work it out.
Yeah, yeah, and everything works it out all right. Then.
Where was y'all from then? Were you from Cleveland or Chattanooga?
Chattanooga. I can't even count the houses, you know, that I've probably built around.
So you were born and raised in Chattanooga.
Oh, yes, yes.
What part of Chattanooga?
I was born in Rossville's, Jordan, on the East Gordon Avenue, and I don't remember anything about that. I was young. And then my dad, he got a job in Dayton, Ohio. And we moved to Dayton, Ohio. We didn't stay there long because he did not like the North.
Now you were born what year?
1929.
So
Hoover.
what's your first memory?
My first memory, it was in Dayton, Ohio. And only a couple of things. I remember Dad and I, we lived in a little two-story house, and the back side of the house had a set of stairs that acted as a fire escape. About a 4x4 platform with the steps. So I was the first child, so, you know, he spent a lot of time with me. And so he would bring in sand and put them at the bottom of the stairs, and he'd get on the platform upstairs and let a bucket down. I'd fill it up with sand, and then I'd pull it up to him. He'd empty it and put it back down, and stuff like that.
That was like your first memory.
That's just my recollection, what I remember. Mm-hmm. Then I remember having a little tricycle. He built a wooden box on the back that I filled it full of sand, would haul it in different places of the yard and stuff like that. And I'm writing memoir now of my life.
Oh, you are?
I'm up to 1985.
What's the name of the book?
The Life of Charles A. MacDowell, Alfred MacDowell.
Well, that would be interesting.
Well, I'm about ready to have part of it edited, and I have edited some of it. But
how do you remember? Do you have to go back and say, "Oh, I forgot about putting that in there"?
I have to go back and plug it in. I'm doing that now because when I read over it to edit it, I find I remember stuff and stuff that I've misspelled.
Are you typing it in?
Well, on the computer, yeah.
Where'd you learn to type?
In high school. I had 2 years of typing. They don't teach typing anymore. No. Anyway.
Is it going to be paperback or hardback?
No, paperback. It'll only probably be 100 pages long. I'm up to about 85 now, 80 or 85 now. So, and I'll probably have to get somebody who's a little better with English than I am.
That's like a page. Seems like it'd be longer than that.
Well, this is a full page, but when I don't know what it'll be when it's cutting, it'll be 4 times that when.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, anyway.
So you were born right after the Depression. You don't remember the Depression, I guess, right?
I started Depression in October 1929.
You were here.
Hoover.
You were here 20 days before the Depression.
Yeah.
You might have been the reason.
I may have. That's not the only thing. What's scary? 1987. What happened?
I don't remember.
They called it the Second Depression.
Well, 87. I thought it was 2008.
No, 1987.
1987. That was who was
It
president?
was a crash.
Was that Black Friday?
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
That was on my birthday. October the 19th. Go back and look it up.
I don't know where I was at in 87. But I know the 90s were booming.
Right.
All the way up to 2006.
Right.
Then it died in 2009.
Yeah, right.
Now, Charlie, were you started out in the construction business? That's what everybody did then, right?
No, not in the beginning. Now, ever since I was a teenager, I've done repair work, did a lot of interior decorating because my grandfather was a painter, decorator, and I had helped him a lot. And that was the biggest part in the beginning, was doing small jobs like a room of wallpaper, painting, what have you. And every time I needed an extra buck, I mean, I always ran out and got a.
Do you think we do what we were started out doing when we was younger?
I don't know. I was kind of a oddball. I mean, I'd do any. I had one job. Only way I could get the job was to be a welder, and I went to school and certified to be a welder. So, I mean, I didn't use it that long, but I.
Do you think at that time this is what I need to do?
Well, to get the job. Oh, yeah.
What job was that?
Well, let's back up here. We're jumping way ahead. I'm about to write my book. I better slow down.
That's all right. Slow down. You may think of something you forgot.
No, at one time, I got between jobs. I got a job at the rebuilding the TNT plant the second time. And I worked out there in the maintenance division, in the emergency side of it. In other words, it was like a fireman. We sat there until a fire comes. Well, we would sit there and we did until something broke down, and then we will fix it. Mm-hmm. But they closed down the TNT plant. And I went to Cramette. Cramette was a new company that came in. I can't remember is a government facilities, but I went there and put my application in, and before they even built the plant. And they said, you know, we're not hiring anybody right now, but put your application in and you'll be on top of the list. So I went to Chattanooga Works of the Western Union, building teletype machines. And I went in there and asked the superintendent if I could have a job, at least till they got this other plant ready and I'm out of a job. Do you need somebody or need somebody to fill in? I never was out of a job. Never did draw unemployment, really. And he said, the only thing that I have is a grinding job on the night shift, and I don't think you'd like that. Well, I knew the guy. I knew Mr. Walker. He was a nice guy. And I said, I'll take it. So I went to work till Craymet opened up to build the plant. And I worked there, probably wasn't more than 8 months, and did the grinding job. And I won't go into the details of all of that, but finally Western Union closed up and moved up north someplace. They closed Chattanooga plant down because DuPont, no, not DuPont, all the technology had changed so that it was running teletypes. They were getting less and less and less and less. You know what you remember what the teletype machine was?
Was that, no.
Well, you sit down at a typewriter, and since I could type, I could do that. But anyway, I used, you sit down and you type it, and it perforates a tape, and it gets long, 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 long. And then when you get ready to send something, you put it in this machine, it just runs to the end.
Like a telegraph.
Yeah.
Or similar.
Right.
Except it punches holes, I guess. Like the old.
But I didn't do any of that until later.
Now, did you go 4 years to high school, or was there not a
4 years? Yeah, 4 years. To high
wasn't that unusual for the time?
Really, 'cause I couldn't afford to go to college.
Why'd you choose to go through high school when most of the people were quitting high school? I guess.
Well, actually, what happened? I was going to Tyner High School, and my dad died in 1944. I was just before I was 15 years old.
Golly.
And I was the youngest. And my mother had never worked. I was much older than my two brothers. And Mother turns to me and says, "Son, you're the head of the house." So.
Do you remember that like it was yesterday?
Oh, like it was yesterday. Absolutely. 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 Dad had an aneurysm in his head, and he didn't make it to the hospital. My father was a Baptist minister.
Is that all he did? Mostly?
No.
Nope. Nobody did one thing then, did
He
they?
he never would take a dime from the church. And he pastored Fallen Water Baptist Church for 3 years, and then he went to Sell Creek.
On the mountain.
Yeah, Sell Creek up past Soddy Daisy, up in that area, just before you get to Dayton.
Yeah.
And he worked at Samuel Stamping and Enameling Company. And if I recall, the largest check stub after he died, going through the papers, the largest check stub I ever saw was $44.
For a week. That might have even been 2 weeks. I don't know.
4 weeks.
Four
I
weeks.
mean, no, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, $44 a week. $44 a week. And of course, the people of the church, they were good. We always had somebody bringing groceries in and all this stuff. But when Dad died, there was 2 people in East Brainerd in a little community called Ryle Springs. You ever heard of it? Well, you go up East Brainerd Road, just before you get to Banks Road. You ever been through there?
Go East Brainerd Road, all right. Go all the way like you're going.
You go before you go around that curve.
Yep.
Right there on this side of that curve was a grocery store, and as a general store, really. They sold hay, cow feed, chicken feed, any kind of feed you wanted. Gas pump had a glass container on top that held 5 gallons. You took a big lever and filled up that 5-gallon tank. Gravity fed it into the automobile.
That took 5 minutes, I guess.
No, not really. It went through pretty fast. But, of course, they sold a few work shoes. They sold a little bit of hardware.
So that would be in like a general store.
Yes. So they offered me a job. Of course, they knew us, so one of them went to church with us, and they were trying to help us out. And back then, people called in, and this COVID reminds me of all that then back then, because you took their order, you filled it, you delivered it to them. If it's close, I did it on a bicycle.
Now, this was after your dad died.
Yes. If it's far away, I had a 37 Chevy pickup truck that I'd load it in and take it to them.
At 15. At 15 years old.
Yeah. Well, by this time, I don't think I drove. Yes, I did. I broke the law a little bit there from 15 to 16 because Mother got me a permit to drive our old 36 Dodge to church and what have you. But when I went to work up there, I just kept driving and nobody ever said anything. When I was 16, I got my license. So actually, I drove some by myself.
Was it devastating when your dad died that young?
Oh, absolutely. See, he and I, we sang together from the time I was 8 years old, and I guess I've sung in every church in Chattanooga.
What do you mean you and him would sing together, like in a choir?
No, as a duet.
That was common?
I don't know whether it's common or not, but we did it. This is before he started preaching. I mean, Dad was not a religious man until I was up about 8 years old, and we lived on 26th Street in Chattanooga, across the street from a Baptist church. I think it's called Summerfield Baptist Church, and anyway, he changed his life around, and later on he got the calling or whatever that is, and started in a ministry. But before that time, I remember being in the bathroom when Dad and my aunt, his sister, were clowning around, singing together. My sister sang alto, and Dad played a little guitar. He knew a lot of chords, and he would play together. And they were out there singing. And as I say today, that's the first time that I heard harmony. And I started singing to myself with her. And so I ran out there one day and I said, told Aunt Frances, I said, let me help Daddy sing this song. And did. Well, Dad was just tickled to death. He would have, well, anyway, after he started preaching, he bought me a little mandolin and a book and learned all the chords. I'd play the mandolin, he'd play the guitar.
How old would he have been then?
Dad? Oh, well, let's see, he was born in 1908, and that would have been,
30 years old?
Somewhere around there, yeah, about 30 years old. Because he died at...
You still remember him like it was yesterday?
Oh, Lord, say mercy, yeah, we were close, yeah. It ruined my thinking, really. I mean, I'm still warped.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You think it really affected you that much?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Might not have been as bad if you was 50 or if you was 3.
Maybe not, but
That's
yeah.
That's such a...
It's a shame, but it warped me. It really did. And I mean, now, this day and time, I don't ponder on it, but looking back and being realistic, it hit me. I don't know. I was trying to think. Well, I could get into all this, why he went to preaching and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into all that. But there's a lot of good stuff that I am putting in my book about it.
What's the difference between memoirs and autobiography?
I don't know, about the same.
Maybe memoirs are your recollection versus...
I would say autobiography is about what mine is, yeah. It's, I don't know. I've been into so many things, I can't even...
Well, being 92, I was with a friend of mine here a while back, and I said, hey, I'm feeling like this. And he said, yeah, that's one of the phases. And I thought, boy, that's not encouraging. That's one of them. I thought this was it.
Ask somebody 90.
Yeah, he said, well, that's one of the phases. Is there phases?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Do you just ignore them?
You have to. You have to accept it or go off the deep end.
2 choices.
I mean, life is short. People don't realize how life short is. They don't even have a clue.
It's not, you don't think of it being short till you get about 35. Then you think, dang, this is short.
Yeah. It's like a piece of new roll of toilet paper. Mm-hmm. When that roll gets down like this, that sucker goes fast.
Yeah. But Charlie, you're in good shape. You may be here another.
I can't even ponder on it. I don't know. Okay.
How old do you think people are getting older now than they used to be? Living longer.
You're living longer?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. When I look at the paper, I think that. And I think statistically, yes. But if you look at the paper, and when the older you get, you notice stuff like this. They run anywhere now from 55 to 82. That's the average. Mm-hmm. And you have several in there in the paper that'll run up to 90 or maybe 80, 86 or 87.
They say if you live to be 65, your odds of living to be 85 are pretty good.
Well, I beat all the odds so far.
And there's nothing wrong with you. Were you a big health nut, or were you a you're
Beans and when I was growing up, beans and potatoes and cornbread, eggs, sausage, biscuits,
Did
gravy.
you get tired of that same stuff, or was it just
Well,
what
back
you did?
then I didn't even think about it. I mean, Mother one day to have butter beans, then one day she'd have pintos, whites,
Black-eyed
great
peas.
no, yeah, sometimes. But at the end of the week, we had specialties. She mixed all these beans that were left over together. We had mixed beans.
Yeah, mixed beans.
She'd take the mashed potatoes and make potato patties.
Did you put onions in your, like eat raw onions with your beans?
Oh, sure.
Like a slice of Vidalia?
Oh, sure.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Any kind of onion,
Yeah,
green
yeah.
onions, whatever, you name
What
it.
about cornbread? Was it thick or thin?
Thick cornbread?
I like it thin.
Oh, well, I know. Everybody's got their own
Why do you like it
taste.
thick?
Wherever Mother put it on the tables, the way I ate
Isn't that
it.
funny? The way your mother cooked it's the way you like it.
That's
If
the
your
way
mother had cooked it thin, you'd want it thin. If my mother cooked it thick, I'd want it thick.
Well, I like to cook, and I still cook it thick.
You cook it with salt in it, or sugar?
Salt?
Salt or sugar?
Oh, sometimes I put a little sugar, but not enough to really even taste. It's just
You ever crumble it up in milk?
I love cornbread and buttermilk.
Oh, I do too. I like cornbread and milk, not buttermilk.
I like cornbread, any kind of milk.
But you put it in
Warm cornbread.
You put it in buttermilk though.
Oh, yes.
Does that help your stomach sometimes when you're?
Maybe.
But it's just good. You just eat it because it's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Now, when you said she took the potatoes and made, what do you call it? There's a name for that, isn't there? Where you fry mashed potatoes into a patty.
Patty. Well, what you do, you take your mashed potatoes, put a little flour in it, and a little cream in it.
What kind of cream?
Pure cream.
What do you mean cream? Just
Any kind of cream. I mean,
sour cream?
they don't use evaporated milk like they did back then. Mother made gravy out of evaporated milk. That makes the best gravy you can eat. Is take.
Where did they come up with evaporated milk? I mean, who come up with that idea?
Well, I don't ask
The
me.
Army?
I don't know. But anyway, she would take that and mix a little water with it, like 2/3 to 1/3 water, and put the flour in the skillet, salt and pepper, flour. Let it come to whatever consistency she wanted, how dark she wanted it, and then pour slowly the milk in there to make the gravy. And try it sometime.
I will. But those potatoes, that sounds good.
Potatoes, you take mashed potatoes, and not a whole lot of flour, just a little bit of flour, and put it in there, and maybe a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of cream, and mix it up and pour it like you was making a pancake.
And they get real brown on one side. I've seen
On both sides.
Yeah. Now the insides though is still a little mushy, right?
Oh, yes.
And what do you put butter on it, or?
Some people just put butter on it. Some people put a little syrup on it like a pancake. Some people eat it straight.
What would you call that? Not a hot cake, not a flapjack.
Maybe a fritter.
No. They did it on Gunsmoke a lot. They always cooked that on Gunsmoke. But so like spaghetti, did you have that a lot, or was that an oddity?
Not a lot. Occasionally, yeah.
But it was mostly beans, potatoes, cornbread.
And when I went out, I had 15 rabbit gums, rabbit traps that I ran every morning before I went to school. And if I brought in a rabbit, I was the king bee. My dad loved rabbits and gravy.
So you went out every morning?
Oh yeah, I run those rabbit gums. When that door was down, sometimes something tripped it, but most of the time you had you a nice big fat rabbit in there.
So you didn't have to get close. You could just get close enough to see the door.
Oh yeah.
And did you do that out of necessity, or was that just what they did?
Well, I did it just for fun, but it became well, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, we brought one in, everybody was happy. Because we had meat.
What now? Did you have indoor plumbing then?
Oh, sometime I didn't have indoor. Actually, I didn't have an indoor bathroom until I was. No, I take that back. We had an indoor bathroom when I was 8. And then I can't remember having the inside bathroom until full time, actually, until I was married. We had kitchen water, but we had an outside bathroom. Didn't have a toilet or anything, and we would. And sometimes we'd move in and have a house where we had a back porch, and we'd make a section off of the kitchen, a door into it to have an inside toilet, but we didn't have a bathtub. I took a bath in a number 2.5 wash tub until I was up in the early teens.
And that was normal.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't being poor. That was just normal.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people had inside, and I guess we were in between. I won't say that I was poor because I never was hungry. I never was hungry or anything like that.
Now, when your dad died, what did your mother do? Did she take on a job? Of course.
Mother had never worked, and so I went to work. Gene Turner on Dodds Avenue was a good friend of Dad's, and he came to Dad one day and said, "I'm going to offer you a deal. I got 2 houses on Graysville Road out in East Brainerd. They're 2 nice little houses, but none of them have indoor bathrooms. And I'll sell them to you. I mean, the interest is like nothing. Both houses, the payments on them were $38.
For the 2? Each?
No. Both houses, $38. That was the payment. Paid directly to Gene. And Dad always, he told me the little house next door, which was nothing but a kitchen, living room, and a bedroom. I had a kerosene stove, outside bathroom. We did have a sink with water in it in the kitchen.
Kerosene stove for cooking or for heating?
For cooking. And the
Where'd you get the kerosene?
fireplace,
Where'd you get the kerosene? Did you have to go to the store?
Store, yeah.
Because the kerosene has a little smell to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But you didn't know that you didn't.
Everybody lived with it. Anybody had it. So, but Dad said the little house, his son said, when you get married, that'll be your starter house. You can live there, and then there's 3 of us. Each one of you can have a start, So anyway, as long as I lived there, I never had an inside bathroom. So
Could you do that today?
could I?
Yeah.
If I had to. I mean, you have to roll with whatever you got. You can't worry about it because you're here and you're lucky to be here. If you enjoy life, if you enjoy the beauty of the universe, you just have to take what comes. You can't worry about it.
Do you look back and say, why did I, and if you had it all to do all over again, would you just not worry about anything? Or do you think worrying is a form of concern and you had that concern so you did better at it, or you're better off to just ignore everything?
Worrying is human nature. I mean, you're going to, but then when you have to learn to stop and take stock and say, hey, there's nothing you can do about it. If there is anything, do what you can do. My poor granddad, he was a joker. He said, don't worry about anything because everything's not going to be all right anyway. Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Don't worry about anything because everything's going to be all right anyway.
But sometimes you think, well, if I keep worrying about it, I'll figure it out. Is there a difference between worrying?
You clog your mind up.
So do you think in 10 minutes you can figure out the correct answer as well as you can in 3 weeks?
I won't say 10 minutes. A lot of times I've got something on my mind. I'll get up 3 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom, and it'll hit me. So.
Are you trying to think of it, or is it just...
Not even trying. It just comes to you. Many a time I've gotten up. Earlier I've tried to figure something out of thinking and get up in the morning, it'll...
So maybe the thinking didn't help any.
I can't say. Who knows? That's like...
We can't figure all this stuff out, can we?
No way. No way. No way.
Do you remember a time in your life when you just had it, you just taken all you could take?
We won't get into that.
But were there times?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's just part of it, isn't it?
That's part of it. You're absolutely right.
So do you think, now I know you've never been one to really be a big going to the doctor guy. You only go if there's a problem, right?
I don't know. I try to take my yearly physical.
Have you done that for a long time?
Yeah, I do.
Like in your 40s or 50s, or did you start in your...
How can you preach to, when you're in a service station business, and how can you preach to a guy that he's got to do preventive maintenance if you don't do it on yourself?
But I've never known you to be a big go to the doctor guy.
No, I do. If I have...
I mean, if you don't have anything wrong.
Oh, no. If I don't have anything wrong, no.
But that's what a checkup is.
Yeah, it's a checkup. And in my younger years, no. But when you get older, all this other stuff creeps up on you, and you don't know what's going on. You've got to find out about it.
But that's because you're going to see because there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But if there's nothing wrong,
oh no.
That just adds worry, doesn't it?
Yeah, I really don't worry about it. I know it's going to happen. I've been fortunate to live almost 92 years. And I'm not going to do anything stupid to bring it on if I can help it. If I can do something about anything, I'll evaluate it and do it. But to worry about it, no, I don't sit back and worry it and run. No.
Was there ever a time when you did worry? Or have you always been a roll with the punches guy?
I have to roll with the punches, yeah.
Have you always been that way?
I don't know what you call it, worry. I've been concerned a lot of times, but it's you get to the point to where, you know, I've done all I can do, and I mean, I just don't ponder on it.
And you never have been a ponderer?
No.
Wonder why that has been your nature?
I have no idea. I guess it stems back. My dad died a few months before he was 37 years old. And look, I've outlived him almost 3 times. And you can ruin the rest of your life by worrying about all this junk, or you can try to live with what you got, and it gets less and less and less, and you have to live with what you got. I mean, I had, I don't know whether it makes any sense or not.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
But when
I'm just trying to sell myself on it.
I think my wife thinks I'm crazy sometimes, but
You've got about the nicest wife.
she is a doll.
I wonder how you ended up with her.
I don't know. It's just,
Was it your looks?
no, luck.
Luck.
I don't know, but I would say if it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't be here today.
How come?
Well, things have happened in my life that that I didn't choose to happen, and it was all I can say is just happened. I can't get into details on it, but in other words, when you have expectations and it doesn't turn out just like you want it to turn out, mm-hmm. You can do 2 things. I mean, you can go crazy over it, or you got to accept it and go on. And it just happened that the right person came along, and I took a different attitude on my desire to live. I'll put it that way. There's 2 or 3 different ways to commit suicide, and shooting yourself is not, doesn't have to be the only reason. You can give up and not take care of your body. You can give up and do stupid stuff, and it'll kill you. And like the dope addicts, they get depressed. They keep taking more and more dope. There's several ways to give up.
Do you think people in general are different than they were, say, 50 years ago?
I think people are the same since the beginning of time, from going back, watching documentaries of different people. They have circumstances that they either can't handle, or they make a stab at handling them, or I don't know. I don't think there's an answer. Everybody's born differently. People think differently. They have different likes, dislikes, and.
But 40 years ago, were people thinking more the same?
4 years ago?
40 years ago.
40 years ago?
50 years ago. Were they thinking more, as a general rule, the same?
I don't.
I mean, as far as I guess what I'm trying to say is, are men today like men were 50 years ago? Have the men lost their manlyhood as far as being able to change a tire or being able to deal with a situation? Or
They're all the same. The only difference is most of them have gotten more liberal and out front with their thoughts, out front with their actions, out front with what they believe, out front with everything. And so I guess we would say they don't keep it all in the closet. Anything, whatever it amounts, whatever.
so if they can't, so 50 years ago, they'd say, I'll put, just like putting up their mailbox at their house. Would a man always go out and put his mailbox up then, or would he hire somebody to put his mailbox up? Because nowadays, I don't know if people can even put up a mailbox.
I can't tell you because I wouldn't even think about it. In my younger years, that is. I probably would try it now.
But would you be afraid to, back then, would you be afraid to ask somebody to put your mailbox up?
Not really. If I didn't have, well, that's a simple, rough question.
It's hard to answer.
I would not. In my younger years, I wouldn't even give it. It wouldn't run across my mind. In my younger years, it wouldn't even run across my mind. At my age now, I'd say yeah.
But that's an age thing, not a society thing. In other words, I think people back then would deal with their situation rather than always asking for help.
Oh, absolutely. I can't remember asking anybody to do anything.
And was everybody like that?
As to my knowledge, except the hierarchy that they expected everybody to do something for them.
But that was paying somebody. And
yes.
But are men still the same as they were then, as far as being manly?
No.
Back then, if you called somebody an SOB, if you did today, but back then, was it a fight? Just it was going to be a fight.
Back then, probably more so than now.
because people were more. I guess maybe they were more proud. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
I would say that.
I'll handle my own issues, my own affairs.
Right.
I'll row my own boat.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah. And they are exceptions, always.
Sure.
There are exceptions.
Do you see the afterlife differently now than you would have 40 years ago?
What afterlife?
I mean, as far as what it may be.
Who knows? Can you tell me somebody that's experienced it and can explain it?
All I can tell you is what I've read, that people that have said they've died and come back and all that stuff. And who knows? I mean, they seem to be very convinced.
I know, I realize that.
But your thoughts on it are the same.
Same as what?
As what they would have been 40 years ago.
My thoughts. Well, let's see. My thoughts from my thoughts are different. They were 30 years ago. My thoughts are different when I was 30 years old. I'll put it that way.
You think that has to do with age?
I have no earthly. I can't answer that.
But they're different.
They're different. Yeah. I don't. it, it might be. I don't know whether you call it age or. I'm a realist. That's my problem. I'm a realist.
What does that definition mean, a realist? I've heard people say that, but because I mean, a realist just means you just say it like it is, right?
Okay.
But
What is my hand doing?
it's closed.
How many fingers I have?
Two.
How many fingers?
Two.
That's a realist.
But now, all right, on those issues, but, you know, let's say I saw your post on Facebook, your friend that got in trouble with the Y. Mm-hmm. What was the deal on that? I mean, from what I read, he did absolutely nothing.
That's true. I swam with him for 4 years. Went to Egypt with him. I've been halfway around the world with him.
You vouch he's a good guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, he can. He thrives on being accepted and being with a group. He's a foreigner, you know. He's an Egyptian, and he'd been here since he's 17 years old. And he would give anybody on the street shirt off his back if they didn't have one and needed one.
If you vouch for him, I'm good with him.
Oh, I'm serious. But things have happened that I can't get into right now publicly. So, but I think it was due to the management not stopping to take stock on hearsay information and searching further into it before he made a move. That's the only thing. I don't. And on the next thing is everybody makes mistakes. I'll put that.
Sure.
And if they come to the realization that they jump too fast and everything, it'll come out all right. But I just saw a need to step in and take that guy and try to help him.
What made you feel that need?
On-hand observation. On-hand observation.
I think that's what I was thinking about earlier.
No, on-hand observation. I was with the guy every day. I heard him call these little kids, honey, baby, sugar. You're so cute, I'm going to adopt you.
They say that all the time.
And they took the word as, I'm going to abduct you.
God.
And then they jumped up and said, I'm going to get out of here. I don't want you in here anymore. I don't want you in here more.
I bet that scared him to death.
He and his wife cried for 3 days.
Which is worse? But you speaking out for him is extremely something to be proud of, Charlie.
I don't know about that. That's it.
Now,
I'm impulsive. If it hits me.
But I mean that is what I think I was getting at. Nowadays people just let that go and that's somebody else's problem and maybe your generation is man enough to say that's not right.
That's exactly right. It's not right and
no matter what it is. Not just this guy from Egypt.
Or who it is. I don't care if he's black, white.
Yeah, or the situation. You got the nerve to say, that's not right, and I'm speaking up. Do you feel an obligation
I don't think that's my problem. I thought.
You want part of this coffee? Just half?
No.
You sure?
Not this late. I'm an old man.
What time do you get up in the mornings?
About 7 every morning.
You set the alarm clock or you just wake up?
No. I wake up when the sun comes up. Yeah.
Have you always been that way?
Yeah, just about.
Never a problem waking up?
No.
You go to bed at the same time every night?
10:30.
10:40 sometimes?
No, 10, just about 10:30 every night. Sometimes 10, but.
Have you always gone to bed about 10:30?
No.
Or do you get in the habit and stay in it for a while till something?
No, my younger years, I'd stay up a little later and wake up a little, but now, if habit, if you get in the habit of going to sleep at a certain time, waking up at a certain time, then your body is acclimated, and you don't disturb it.
How do you know that?
How?
Yeah.
Common sense.
Because there are studies that say that.
Common sense. If I went to the studies,
They say it helps you to go to sleep when you go to sleep.
Exactly.
It helps you to wake up.
Exactly right.
Do you think that getting in a habit like that is healthy, no matter what it is?
Absolutely.
I mean, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
that's
Your body says, "Hey, it's time to go to sleep." about.
I mean, do you eat lunch about the same time every day?
No, I don't think about that now. I don't even think about
So
that.
sleeping and getting up is
Yeah.
about the same time.
Yeah. I'm not a fanatic on having to do everything at this time and but sleeping, getting up, I do that most of the time, and I don't do it consciously. I mean, I just do it.
Do you watch TV when you go to sleep? You have the TV on, or you just go to sleep?
No, I don't have some TV in my bedroom.
You just turn the lights off and go to sleep?
Oh yeah.
Just don't.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about?
What I think about?
Yeah, when you go to sleep.
I say, God, I thank you for another day.
And that's it? I mean, you don't think about what you're going to do, or you're going to go to the Y at 11, you're going to meet Eddie Cartwright for lunch.
No, turn it off. No.
And just go to sleep?
I mean, like you think subconsciously, I may not wake up in the morning. Don't worry about it.
Do you ever see Eddie across the street?
About 3 hours ago,
What was he doing?
he came over to visit me.
What, just to say hi?
Well, he had a few things to say. Eddie.
What was he wanting?
I'm not saying it.
He would.
He was. He came in.
I mean, he would tell on you, wouldn't he? Or would he?
If he had a chance, probably.
Eddie Cartwright is a really good guy.
Oh yeah.
He really is a good
guy. Absolutely.
He's a very caring, compassionate guy. He'll help you if he can, won't he?
Yeah.
What about Teresa? She lives next door, right?
I have hardly ever see her. I haven't spoke to her a dozen times since she's been there.
Well, she's a good neighbor.
She is, yeah.
She's a good person too.
She's a worker, and she's on the
smart.
go all the time.
She's on the go wherever she's at right now. She's going 90 miles an hour.
And that mine's going 90 miles.
Her mind's going faster than she is.
Oh,
So now 3 days a week at the Y. Do you just swim and that's all?
sometimes if they're having a class and I have to wait till the class is over, I'll go in the weight room. I'll either ride the bicycle, pull the rowing machine, or sometimes if I feel pretty good, I go in and do the treadmill for a little while.
You have a locker there?
Oh, absolutely, ever since it opened.
How much is that a year?
$100.
You got a combination lock or a key lock?
Combination lock.
Do you take showers there?
Absolutely.
You sit in the sauna?
No, not much. Not much. Not much. Not much.
What about the hot tub?
Well, I'm not supposed to get in the hot tub. I had a staph infection in my leg, and they said
that's
that
right.
hot water set it off. Yeah.
Before that, was the hot tub a
Yeah.
go-to?
Yeah, but that's what set it off the last time. So.
Oh, is that what they think?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now, is the sauna or the steam room, you can go into either one of them
I can go into either one of them.
because of the same reason?
Well, I don't know. Usually I spend so much time, I don't have time, and I get out of there.
But you're not a steam room or sauna guy?
Nah, I don't sit there for hours, no. No.
Now, do you go to stay in shape? Is it something just to do? Or is it add regiment to your day? Or
I don't even think about it in that way. I just do it because I think use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. And some things you're gonna lose whether you like it or not.
well, I tell you what, Charlie, you are what I would classify as a man's man.
I don't know.
I'm not sure what that means,
my wife
but I
thinks
think
I'm crazy.
we put that chair in your house, and you don't even use it, right?
No, I do use it. Yeah. Sometimes I walk up just for exercise, but I had a little trouble with vertigo, and I don't want to be stupid and come down there and hit with vertigo.
What do you attribute your not only your long life, but your getting around? I mean, you drove here.
Yeah, somebody asked me that a year ago if they've taken my driver's license away from it and made me mad, and I went and bought me a new one.
At your age, is being able to see at night the new sexy?
Do what now?
At your age, is being able to drive at night the new sexy?
Driving at night, I have a little more problems with that. I can still do it, but it's not as easy. I scare my wife to death, but I'll go anywhere I want to go.
Now, next week you'll go to the Y 3 days, right?
3, well, sometimes I go 5, sometimes I go 6.
But what else will you do? Do you have a full week next week planned?
I don't even think about it. I just get up and do what I want to do. Fish most of the time.
You fish once a week?
Me and Raymond Swafford go fishing.
I love Raymond.
He called me tonight. I gave him some fish gumbo, and he said, call me next week and we'll go fishing.
Tell him Dee says, hey, I like him.
He's a rascal.
He knows me.
He's a rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have anything you got to do, like you don't work, you don't...
No, I don't do anything.
Just
do what I want to do. That's retirement.
How long have you been retired?
1992.
Do you remember when you said, that's it, I'm not working no more?
Oh, yeah, my wife said, you'll never quit working until you give up your contractor's license.
Well, that's what I need to do, is give mine up.
And so I didn't renew them anymore after that.
If you'd have kept them, you probably wouldn't have lived this long.
I don't know. I can't say that. I've been very fortunate. I know that. I can't. I've been very fortunate.
So you don't have any advice for anybody that's wanting to live to be 95?
No, I don't know. It's hard to say. That's hard to say.
Do you think that God has a plan for us and we can't do much to change that?
I would like to think that, but I can't concrete say because I don't know.
So just
I
live.
really don't know. I know. I know. If I think there's a supreme being. I think that all this stuff. I mean, the human body is more complicated than all this all this technology stuff that's going on. It would take them 1,000 years. Technology would take 1,000 years to catch up what the human body can do. And if it's got them boggled, how can I figure it out?
That was great. That was the perfect ending, wasn't it?